What's good, people? It's your boy, Uncle Fred, back in the house one more again. We're just going to hit a few high notes and hit a couple of spots today. Please hit that like, comment, and subscribe. We're just going to talk about a couple things here. Let's, no intro today. We want to kind of do, we want to, on our talking points today, we're going to talk about, the honeymoon's over. Last game, Cleveland, man, it was a game. I mean, we saw a lot of good things, maybe some not so good things, but that game is over now. We're gonna move on to the game this week, and of course, this week we're talking about New Orleans, who's coming to Dallas. And we're going to talk about them. Let me get myself back. There we go. We move on to that, and we got that's our home opener at noon on Sunday. We're going to talk about that and the problems we're going to have with New Orleans, with some of the people that they've got in terms of some of their personnel, coaches, and stuff that they got. We're just going to talk a little bit about that. Hang on a second. Hang on. Building the plane while we're in the air. Hang on. Yeah, here we go. All right. So can't get my captions right here. Hang on a second. Anyway, here we go. It won't do the. All right, let's we're not starting over. We're just gonna go. So, some observations. So we're gonna see it's a couple things. The first thing, who's calling the plays? Clint Kubiak. Some of the players: Alvin Kamara, Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave, Taysom Hill, Derek Carr. All of those things. And there's three questions we're going to ask as we bring up about this video. Three things we're going to ask. It's questions that we're going to ask. So, will their special skill set players and their style of play give our defense problems? 2, can this be a trap game? And 3, can we win? So, nothing else said. We're gonna go. Yes, I'm trying to do this without a mouse here, so I'm trying to do this stuff all by hand. So here we go. All right, hang with your boy.
Times on the beat, bitch.
All right, again, what's good, people? Welcome to the Uncle Fred Sports Show, and we're talking about week 2. Week 2 in the NFL. We saw a lot of good things in week 1. Now, I know a lot of y'all, the Cowboy fans, you kind of didn't know what to expect going into the Cleveland game. You know, we had a bad taste in our mouth coming off that Green Bay game at the end of last season. We didn't know what we lost players left, 9-10 players left the room. We brought back 4 in free agents, bottom of the barrel free agents, or not the key free agents, big time free agents, star free agents. But no, we're talking about Eric Kendricks. We're talking about Linval Joseph. We're talking about Carl Lawson, and we're talking about Jordan Phillips. Okay, those are the guys we're talking about, right? And most of those guys, with the exception of Kendricks, nobody really wanted. Matter of fact, the Giants pretty much gave us Jordan Phillips, and I'm like, dude, y'all are a bad team. You thought you guys couldn't use Jordan Phillips, but whatever, man. It's what it is. So we didn't know what we was going to have going into the Cleveland game. We thought we made some good changes. We got Mike Zimmer calling our defense, and he's a no-nonsense type of dude. He's not putting up with the bull crap. He calls a very, I'm going to say a complicated defensive scheme, but it's one where people are fundamentally sound, and they're pretty much, they're tied into their stuff. They're not, lollygagging around. They're not guessing about what they're supposed to be doing, where they're supposed to be, who they got on this play. They really, he really hones in like, hey, know what you're doing. And I think he's really teaching those guys. We got a bunch of young dudes, man. So I didn't know what we was going to expect. And I thought Cleveland, man, they're good enough. They're at home. That's their home opener. Man, they're going to come for us. Amari Cooper is going to come with, fire in his eyes, and he's going to try to tear us up. And like I said, man, I had called into the landlord show, or didn't call in, but I was in this chat, and I was like, man, Amari's going to come with this fire. He's going to come with a chip on the shoulder. And the guy said, man, he's not going to do none of that, man. He didn't built that way. And they were right. So, and, we end up getting a 33-17 win. So, but the honeymoon is over with that particular game, and we're moving on to game 2. Now, here's the thing that I'm not going to do. Because like I said, I listen to a lot of the Cowboy content. I listen to a lot of what the fans are talking about. They're calling into the shows. They're writing into the chats. They're writing in their stuff. They're, oh, man, we're going to beat these Saints 45-7 or 43-7 or 35-7 or whatever, stuff like that. And I'm like, sometimes what you got to do as fans, you kind of got to, and I'm not trying to say you don't be, find my water. Not saying that you don't, you're not being optimistic about your team. Because a lot of times when I'm in like Rome Cowboy fan talking to him, he's Optimus Prime. He's always positive, and I appreciate that when guys are optimists, about the team. And that's certainly a place for that. I always have been one of those types of look. I done seen some stuff. I done seen teams come into the game one and all the things go well and all the stuff, everybody's where they're supposed to be and stuff like that. Because a lot of times teams didn't know what to expect. You got a lot of unknown variables coming into the game, and they come in, and now teams got something that they can look at and like, okay, this is what they did. And a lot of times teams never can replicate what they was able to do in game one. Now, I'm not saying that about us. I would never say that about the Cowboys, okay? But I'm just saying for all those people to just think, oh, man, we should, based on how we beat Cleveland, man, we should go in there and just – because I think Cleveland might be better than New Orleans. And if you had said something to me before the game, I would have said, yes, Cleveland is better than New Orleans because they got the best defense in the league, probably the best pair of corners with Greg Newsome Jr. and Denzel Ward. And they got another dude, Emerson, is playing the slot. He's good. And, of course, they got I can't think of what the guy's name is, the linebacker, but he's one of the best linebackers in the NFL. And then, of course, on the line, you got the reigning defensive player of the year. You got Myles Garrett, and you got what's the guy's name from Alabama? Dalvin Tomlinson, and you got Zadarius Smith. You got a lot of players on defense. The dude named Jefferson, who's got 20 sacks in the last 3 years, and for different teams, obviously, and teams just seem to get rid of him. I can't think of his first name, but his last name is Jefferson. So they had a lot of good players, and I would not have said any of that about New Orleans. But when you see game one, and you kind of see, and when we look at New Orleans, you look at maybe, well, shoot, they're playing Carolina, and it looks like Carolina might be the worst team in the league, and I'll have to eat some crow on that one because I was going back and forth with my cousin TK, who comes on the show with me sometime, and he argued me down, in the pregame, from last week, when we picked the games, which we're going to get back on and do our pick'ems, You know, we got to get that back going, but we've not been able to do that. And we'll get those back going. But I thought that the Panthers would win about 5, 6, 7 games because they won 2 games last year and they made a lot of additions. They got a lot of people that came on their team that they didn't have from last year. You know, so yeah, I kind of felt like hang on a second. Let me. I got my chat. Look, man, I want to apologize when I was on Sunday. Some reason, man, I couldn't see none of my chats. I couldn't see none of the people that had got on with me. And somebody came on, just said Tony Guyton. I guess he's talking about Tyler Guyton, but that's okay, man. I know who you meant. Yeah, he's our best player. Yeah, Cowboys Nation, Lakers Nation. Look, man, when you look at that game, you like, okay, maybe Carolina sucks, you know, and you know I'm a Tider, but man, Bryce Young is starting to give me the B word vibes right now. You know, B mean me. I don't want to say it, but it rhymes with trust. And I don't want to say that, but he's giving me those kind of vibes, right? And they really look like they don't know what they're doing. They're putting the cart in front of the horse. The horse is running backwards. They just look like a bad run organization right now. And so, could maybe the New Orleans Saints have taken advantage of a team that kind of don't have no direction, don't have no understanding of what they're doing, and they just took advantage of that? Could that be? Because the same could be said about us. Because if you'd have told me coming into that game, we would have scored 33 points on them and they wouldn't have scored. But really, to be honest with you, they scored like 3 points and they scored 2 touchdowns, one in the third, and late in the third and one in the fourth. Really, they scored that last touchdown with like 9, 10, 11 seconds left. You know, so when you beat a team bad, is it on you, the good for you, or is it on the bad of the other team? So those are the questions we're going to ask. But anyway, let's look at what we're talking about here. So today we're looking at New Orleans Saints, and we know I think they were 9-8 last year, just missed the playoffs. They kind of, if you ask me, I was looking over their season from last year. It looks like they kind of were offensively challenged, and they got good people. You know, Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is a good quarterback. I just think Derek Carr's never had a good defense when he's in all those years he's at Oakland or Las Vegas or whatever. I think he was with them when they was in Oakland when they was all the way back to 16 and 15 and 16. I've always thought a lot of Derek Carr. I always thought he's one of those dudes that tries hard, plays hard, gives it everything he's got. Never really had good defenses, never had, and, I felt like if he ever got with a good team or ever got with some good play callers and maybe, a solid defense, he could do some things that some other quarterbacks could do, So as I look over the team and I look at it and I see what happened this year. Now, one thing I want to mention is, as you see in my crawl, the one thing that they added, and one thing I've learned in my delve, if you will, into content, is I've started to learn that a lot of times when these teams are put together, it's not a lot of times we get as fans, we look at the who. And when I say the who, you look at, okay, what players do they got? Okay. And then you start making assumptions based on what players they've got. And never does it enter into your mind of who they've got, but how. In other words, what are they running? Who do they have calling the plays? Who's running their defense? Okay. These kind of things, because they kind of matter. A lot of people don't like to weigh those things out. It's like, oh, you got great players, you should just win. Basically, you just roll the ball out there, they just go play. And nothing really could be further from the truth, because you could have a great team and the coach don't know what the heck he's doing, and you go out there and just it blows up in your face. I'll give you an example. And I'm gonna go back to college because because this team is notable as one of the best teams in college, over the past like 20 some odd years. And it kind of nails on a chalkboard to me to mention as one of the best teams in college in over the past 20 years is the 2001 Miami Hurricanes. I'm a Roll Tider. I believe every team Alabama has that's in the thing, is a a championship level team, right? I just I'm biased, but when you start looking at the guys that they had on that team, how many first round picks they had, you go from Jeremy Shockey, Kevin K2. The tight ends, you go from Willis McGahee to Clinton Portis to Frank Gore. You got Andre. What's the receiver? He just retired. All these dudes are potential Hall of Fame players. And then you got on defense, you got Jonathan Vilma. You got Ed Reed, you got Mike Rump, you got you got a bunch of players on that team that Bryant McKinney, left tackle, he might go to the. So really, to all the prognosticators, that Miami Hurricane team of 2001, and most of those players came back for 2002, is really considered the best college football team probably of any of those in the last like 20 years. Do you know now, after 2001, their coach, Butch Davis, who was one of our assistant coaches in the Cowboys dynasty in the late mid-90s or whatever, Butch Davis was one of our defensive coaches. Of course, he went on to the Cleveland Browns, and then he went on to coach the Miami Hurricanes and brought them back to relevance. But that team, when he left, they I can't think what the name of the coach's name. They took on shoot, I can find it right here. Shoot, man, we ain't doing nothing right here. We ain't doing nothing. All right, let's see. All right. All right. Larry Coker, that was his name, Larry Coker. He got handed the job kind of like Ryan Day got handed the job at Ohio State, but that's another story. And that team ended up losing to Ohio State, to a team that didn't have nowhere near the talent that they had, okay? Because I don't think Larry Coker knew what to do with that talent. So sometimes if you don't have the how, it don't matter who you got. You don't have no how. You don't have no rhyme. You have no reason. You have no system. You don't know how to put the right players in the right positions to do the job to their fundamental best, whatever. So you don't play as well. So when you look at the Saints and you look at the Saints, and I see the main thing that they picked up last year from this year. I mean, I know they picked up some they picked up a they drafted Talisa Fuaga, left tackle from maybe a right tackle from Oregon State. Man, that's a guy I would have liked for us to have gotten. And they also drafted one of my guys, Kool-Aid McKinstry from University of Alabama. University of Alabama, Roll Tide, baby. Yeah. But so but they got beat. So I'm talking about Miami got beat. So we look at who they end up getting. They end up getting Clint. Let me get to my thing. Get back to my captions. I can see somebody jumped in my chats here. Yeah, they end up getting Clint Kubiak. Now, anybody may know the name Kubiak, and if you've been in the football game for a minute, you'll know Clint Kubiak. He's like, oh, I remember that name. I remember Gary Kubiak. That's right. Gary Kubiak was the backup quarterback for John Elway in them like mid 80s, late 80s Denver Broncos teams that was going to the Super Bowls and getting blasted. But and he also was on those teams when Mike Shanahan came back and resurrected them back in the mid to late, right after, honestly, in the late 90s. And he installed that run-centric West Coast offense. And it's kind of called the Shanahan system right now, if you want to be. And so he was kind of entrenched in that, Gary Kubiak. And, of course, now his son kind of grew up with Kyle Shanahan with like on those Redskin teams back in the day when Sean McVay and Matt LaFleur and all those guys were on those teams and was designing the offenses. And all of those guys kind of got that Shanahan pedigree on how they run their offenses. So to me, when you start watching, I went back and watched the highlights of the game between them and the Panthers. And man, if you look at how New Orleans was playing last year, that kind of drub kind of thing, they were just kind of, kind of, and you see how Kubiak got them guys and the motion, the shifting, the misdirections and stuff. And you kind of see the jet sweep motions and all that sort of stuff. Everybody's moving. And you got, and when you got guys, especially we got a lot of young guys on our team, when they see these guys, all the offensive linemen moving this way, they'll say, oh, let's run that way. And then there's a counter. The guy's coming back this way, and you done went 3 steps the wrong way, and they done countered the thing back there when that guy's busting it down for 25 yards going the other way. Okay. And that's always the beauty of motion and shifting and that sort of stuff, which is stuff I wish we would do more of. I'm speaking to Mike McCarthy now, right? So this team, and some of the guys they got, now Chris Olave, you got Alvin Kamara, and I think he had like 83 yards. Shoot, I got it right here, man. I got the let's see here. Yeah, I just look it up. I looked up the stats from last week. Yeah, I looked up the stats from last week, and so I let's see results. All right, kind of look like I'm sort of unprepared right now, but that's okay. We good though. We good. Shoot, we good. Let's see, week 1. Here's the week 1 tab. Here we go, right here. Panthers Saints. Here we go. Here's the thing right here. Okay, so over the Saints, Derek Carr threw for, I think he was like 23 out of 27, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Alvin Kamara, 15 carries, 83 yards and a touchdown. Rashad Shaheed, 3 catches, 73 yards, including a 63-yard run on the first series of the game. And it really opened that game wide the heck open, man. And yeah, they was able to do that. And let me see, man. The brightness is a little dark here. Let me see what we got here. Hang on a second. We'll get it back here. let's see here. Can't really see myself here. Let's see. Don't see it. Here it is. Brightness. Oh, here we go. Here we go. All right. All right. Don't that look better? Yeah, there we go. I can see myself now. So anyway, but yeah, that first possession, man, he threw that thing over the top, man. They got the right coverage they want. He's number 22. He kind of just caught it. He got behind the defense, and that was like, and then that was just more. I mean, that was, and usually when the team score 47 points, you know what you expect to get? You expect there to be, I don't know, a kickoff return for a touchdown, a fumble recovery for a touchdown, a blocked field goal for a touchdown, an interception return for a touchdown. Oh no, Fred. I know I didn't say that right. No, it was just straight offense. Okay, and ineptness on the Panthers defense, you know, and they was able to score 47 points. Okay, now, is that a situation where they're just good, got good systems, got good placement, got good organization, good play calling, or is a situation where it's a bad team, don't know what they're doing? And my answer to that would be yes, because I think both of them, two things could be true at the same time. And I think that was the case here. Same thing with our game. I think our defense was great, but I think the Cleveland offense was terrible, namely Deshaun Watson. He was not good. He was not good whatsoever Sunday. He did not look like a starting level quarterback. Okay. So we got this game coming up Sunday. And like I said, and a lot of people was calling in and stuff and all the shows, and they were talking about how, well, man, we're gonna bash these guys. I mean, we're already looking past them to Baltimore next week. And I'm like, man, I don't think you should be doing that right there, man. If you saw that game, you just know that's New Orleans. You expect New Orleans to be New Orleans, but they got some dudes. You know, they got a dude back there that knows, you know. Now, this is his first offensive coordinator. I think he was the quarterback's coach at San Francisco, which meant he worked with Brock Purdy, you know, with his stuff. But he was in the room when they putting the offenses together. You know, he's been in that Shanahan family and tree for, you know, all his life. So he knows all of that stuff. And they ran the ball like 35 times. I think I saw that on the thing here. Yeah, I think they ran the thing like 35 times. I think they ran the thing like 35 times. They rushed it for like 180 yards. Okay. So that's trust me, one thing about the Shanahans, they're going to run the football right at you, you know, and they're not going to ever give up on the run. They just find a more creative way to run it. You stop them this way, oh, we'll just run a little counter and come back the other way with the same running play going the other way. You know, they just figure out a way to do it. And I just think, man, I wish we could have got Clint Kubiak in our building and could have got him in there, man, if nothing else, to just give us some corporate information on how the 49ers run their stuff, if nothing more, and help us how to defend it. But I will say this. Now, according to everything I've read and the stuff I've studied, Mike Zimmer has been one of the few, I think Mike McDonald, the guy that was a coach of the Seahawks head coach, I think they said he's kind of one of those guys that, you know, he has that, not that you can never stop it, but he's good at slowing them down, you know, some of the things that they like to do. Because what they get you on is the mirrors, the smoke, the mirrors, the whipped cream, the window dressing, you know, they get you on all of that stuff. They get you on the eye candy. They get you on that sort of stuff because every play has eye candy to it. Every play has a counter motion to it. Every play got shifting to it, you know. And that's the thing. If your defense is not fundamentally sound, is not in the know, you could get beat bad. You could look real bad. In the last few years, when we've played the Shanahan tree, we've looked bad, especially this past year. We went up to Santa Clara and got beat 42-10. It might have been the worst. So, and like I said, you got Taysom Hill, too, a guy that you can just put it anywhere. That dude might line up at fullback. They can use him like Huschek, Kyle Huschek. They can use him that way. He can line up at tight end. He can line up at wide out, or heck, he can line up in Wildcat, and they can snap the ball to him, and he can do some stuff with that, right? So anytime you got a creative play caller and you got a guy like that that can do a bunch of different things like him, Rashid, because Rashid does that. He takes handoffs. He's a slot receiver. He also was very involved in their special teams. He returns kicks. So that's a guy that you really better pay close attention to. And he's number 22. And then Chris Olave. I think Chris Olave ended up with like one catch for like 6 yards. Yeah, let me find my stuff here. Yeah, I think he only had like one catch, and this is a guy that had a I think he has had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. He's really their best wide receiver. And, but Rashid runs like a 4.2, 4.3. He's fast. So this is a dude you better pay attention to. And the way those Shanahans work, they try to get their best guy lined up on the guy that they want to line him up on. So it surprised me at all if they run some sort of matchup and get Rashid lined up on Kalen Carson and try to get behind him. I would be remiss if they would try Diggs on some stuff, because I'm gonna tell you about Diggs. Sometimes Diggs be talking, but I'm gonna say, yeah, talk your junk, man. They asked Diggs. This is early training camp. Say, hey, dude, what part of your game you think, man? Do you think maybe it is underrated and things you might need to think you should work on, or what you think you could get a little better at? He's like, I don't know what to say about that. And I can't think of any. And then they asked him, like, so what do you think things you should be worried about with Chris Olave? What scares you about him? And he's like, is that a trick question? I'm like, okay, Trayvon, talk your stuff, man. So in his mind, and believe you me, the thing about playing cornerback is the first thing you got to have is confidence. And I know even coming back off the ACL, I know Trayvon not lacking no confidence at all. But anyway, I'm just trying to lay it out there, some of the players that they've got and some of the reasons why we should be concerned. I'm not saying be scared or think, oh my gosh, we're going to lose the game. But I think it will behoove you to understand your opponent and understand who they've got on their roster. And then understand that, if you don't come ready to play, if you don't come with your A game, if you don't come, with the details, because sometimes, I always say it. One of my pet peeves with the Cowboys is a lot of times they don't bring their preparation bucket. They just show up for the game like we're just gonna go get it, and have no idea what the other team's tendencies, probabilities, likelihood, what they do on 3rd and 7, what they do they have no idea. We just out there playing ball. And that's always one of my things. And I always, as somebody that brings you Cowboy contact, those are the things I like to try to bring to the forefront. Things that you should pay attention to when you're watching our team. So come Sunday at 12 o'clock, these are the things. So if you come in, you watch sitting down, you come home from church, which I'm hoping you're doing, and you sitting down, you open a Pepsi and your chips, and you sit down and you see Derek Carr sitting back there. He got time. He's moving around in the pocket, and he's hitting these guys, and the motion and stuff is going. Do not be surprised. This is what they do. because this is how they play now because they've got a new dude calling their plays, and Clint Kubiak. So the question I was saying, with their special skill position players and their style of play, will it give our defense problems? The answer will be yes. But I don't think there's problems that we will not be able to solve because Mike Zimmer is one of them dudes. I don't think he leads on. I think he's a dude that's like, I'm gonna give you all the answers to the test. Just go out there and play. I'm gonna let you know everything that it's something else that you might not didn't know. Clint Kubiak used to be on the offensive staff for Mike Zimmer when he was at Minnesota, because he was at Minnesota first before he went there, for the San Francisco. He's at Minnesota in the tenure when Mike Zimmer was at Minnesota. All right. So those are the things you got to look at too. So but yeah, they're gonna pose some problems because the Shanahan tree with the way they run and the motion that they run, because the motion that they run, they do it on running plays and passing plays. See, we run a little motion too, but we only do it with our pass. So if we, most of the times our running plays are just, our formation, out of shotgun, out of shotgun runs, no motion, no shifting, just running right up the A or B gap. No imagination. Like Vosh Lombardi said, we just do caveman running. We ain't doing no trap blocking, no drive blocking, and no crisscrossing of the tackles and guards, and none of that stuff. We're just going caveman block. But you're not getting that for the New Orleans Saints with any of the Shanahan tree guys running that stuff. So I'm just want to make sure you guys are aware what they do. Now the question being, can this be a trap game? It could be, but I think Mike Zimmer is not going to let it be a trap game. Okay, not going to let it be a trap game because I think he's like, no, because to me, this is what they need to look at. This is like San Francisco Junior. All right, you can't beat San Francisco Junior. You dang sure well not beating San Francisco Senior. Not going to happen. So we're going to see. I think Mike Zimmer is going to have them boys well schooled. He's going to have them well detailed. He's going to have them drilled. All the things that they do, they probably ran over the tape of last week's game, ran over some of the staples of the Shanahan tree system, the things that they do, some of their tendencies, some of their waggle routes, some of the motion and stuff that they do with the tackles running and shifting to the right and coming back to the left, the guards pulling, all that stuff, the guys going in jet sweep motion, but they're not really running it. They're actually going back the other way, all that eye candy and whipped cream. And there's a reason why the people use that in their offenses, because it works. Because all those things do is just to make the defense just hesitate, just for a skosh, just to, dang, let me go back this way, but that's too late. That second that you hesitated, that guy's already got across your face and he's going back the other way. That's what those are intended for. That's what they're intended to do, just to make you just a little bit unsure of yourself, of not seeing what your eyes thought they saw, So, but I think Mike Zimmer is not going to allow this to be a trap game. So let's talk about the offense right quick, and then we get ready to get off of here. And then I don't know if I want to give y'all a prediction tonight or not, but on offense, you still got Cam Jordan. You got Demario Davis, linebacker. He's one of the better linebackers. You still got the Honey Badger. You got Marcus Lattimore, who I've heard from all the reports I've read, he might not play. He might not play this week. So no, I don't think he's going to play, but he may, he may suck it up and play. Certainly that's the guy they would try to put on CD. But here's the thing, CD had like 5 catches for like 61 yards last week. He's coming off and not playing any training camp. I know he was winded. he said, I'm ready this week. So I look for CD to have an outstanding game. But here's the thing, though, on our offense. See, you got to factor in that one of the things that has bothered me about our offense is that we don't, in the pursuit of Spam and Lamb, we really kind of forsook giving the ball or throwing the ball to other players. So that's why CeeDee Lamb got like 180 targets and caught like 137 catches or whatever he caught last year, and 1,700 yards and 12 touchdowns or what have you. And so Brandon Cook's getting like 50, 60, 70 targets. He's not even half of them. So when you go into the playoffs and we play in Green Bay, what do you think the Green Bay staff and the defensive coordinators and stuff is going to do? What do you think they're going to do? Well, if we take away CeeDee Lamb, make Dak and go to these other guys. Make him go to Jake Ferguson. Make him go to Brandon Cooks. You know, he threw 2 picks on it to trying to go to Brandon Cooks because they were bracketing CeeDee Lamb because that's the guy they like to go to. But CeeDee Lamb is kind of hard to bracket. We line him up all over the place. We line him up on the X. Then we line him up sometime in the slot. Sometimes he's taking snaps out of the backfield. We run him on jet sweeps and jet motion things and stuff like that. So we've been real creative on how we use him, right? But I'd like to see Brandon Cooks get a little more love. I was glad to see him get his first touchdown of the last week. First touchdown of the year, actually, first touchdown of the Cowboys this year. And I was happy to see that. You know, Brandon Cooks get that love. Hopefully he's able to, you know, with another year in the West Coast, Texas coast, whatever the offense you want to call this, that maybe he'll get a little more love this week and throughout this year. Maybe he'll get more than like 60 catches, 58 catches, whatever he had last year. And maybe he'll get like 75 catches for like 1,000 yards. That's what I'd like to see him getting. About 7. He got 8 touchdowns. That was his saving grace. He got 8 touchdowns. So, and I look for them to go. And the thing which I didn't really talk about last week, which I wished I had gotten to that, you know, one of the bad things is that Jake Ferguson got hurt. And of course, now he's not practicing all this week. And I would not look for him to play any this week. And that's one less weapon that we have at our disposal that Dak will have to throw to. So that means Brevin Spanford and what's Luke Schoonmaker going? Y'all up next, because I have not seen John Stevens Jr. He's not practiced much either. Okay. So we're gonna see what happens there. So, but I look for Dak to have a more aggressive game this week. Because he kind of was a pedestrian last week, 19 of 32, 179, 1 touchdown. I look for him to have a little more assertive game this week and kind of show you why they paid him and, that sort of thing. And I look for him to, and I look for our defense to do some things too. So, hey, man, I just don't think it's going to be 35-7. I just think y'all can get off of that tip. I actually think it's going to be a good game. All right. I actually think it's going to be a good game. I do have the Cowboys winning. I'm not going to give you my prediction because I'm going to come on tomorrow. But I got the Cowboys winning. And I think we're going to score at least 27 points, if not more than that. But I feel like we're going to win Sunday. But I just kind of wanted to kind of give you guys some info about the game, about the opponent. And I always say you want to respect your opponent. You ought to respect them, understand, learn your opponent, learn what they do, what they don't do well. And that way you'll be prepared for what they show you when you play them. But yeah, that's about it. Shout out to Micah Parsons, who, they was talking to him this week, and he was talking about some of the rookie players that he plays with, and he was saying that, he told Tyler Guyton, he said, man, hey man, you was a dude this week, man. Hey man, you done got by 2 of the best, man, to get you where you at, man. You on your way. You're on your way. And if you're scratching your head, we mean got by 2 of the best. He's like, yeah, Myles Garrett and me. He talking about him because he sees him in practice every week. 2-3 times a week, right? And then he told DeMarion Overshown, he said, man, I feel like he's going to be a future all-pro in this league because of the speed he's got, the motor that he's got. You still remember that play where he sacked Deshaun Watson on that 4th down where Micah had the angle, but Overshown came out of nowhere and just blam. And blasted him, man. I was like, that dude came out of nowhere, man. So, and I kind of got, envisions of putting him as in all these quarterbacks that like to run, the Eagles, Lamar and the Ravens, these kind of players. Overshown is going to be probably playing in that short zone and just kind of reading. And as soon as that dude take off, he's coming in, blam, because that's the kind of intensity he got. But I love me some Overshown. Love me some DeMarion Overshown. That's the dude right there. I know it just been one game, but that's the rookie that I've been most impressed with. I like Tyler Guyton too, but DeMarion Overshown was my rookie of the day last week. And hopefully, he will play well in what we're going to be doing Sunday. So we'll see what happens with that. But y'all got the Cowboys winning. We'll see what happens, man. But that's all I got, man, from the desk of Uncle Fred. As I said before, please hit the like button. Please hit the like. If you watched the video, you viewed the video, please hit the like button. The like button shows other people or points this video and to other people who might like Cowboy content. And if you're a Cowboy fan, you can't get enough Cowboy content because I know I can't. I'm listening to everybody. I'm listening Boss Cowboy. I'm listening to West Coast Cowboy, Henny the Moore and Landlord. I'm listening to Will Skywalker Steel in the mornings. I'm listening to Voss Lombardi and Brian Broaddus. I'm listening to all them dudes. I'm listening to Mauricio Rodriguez, also from A to Z Sports. I'm listening to all those guys, man. I'm listening to Lando Sports. Listen to all that. I advise you to subscribe to all of those guys. You'll get some good content from those guys, man. And maybe when you see the games on Sunday, they'll make a little more sense to you from what the new media is providing you. Because I'm telling you, the new media is where it's at, man. The old media, the clowns that run ESPN, the mother 4-letter networks, they're clowns, man. They got narratives and stuff. You get the real from the real content creators. You get the real, and that's the new media. But that's all I got. God bless each and every one. Please, if you can't do nothing else, pray. I guarantee you it'll turn things around. That's all I got for today. God bless. We'll catch you guys on the next video.